Hello guys, welcome to the Equity Guys pre-market video. Today is the 21st of July on a Monday and we are going to be going over the view for the day. My name is Chirag, a NISM certified technical analyst. So let's see what happened on Friday. Friday we see that Nifty closed at around 0.57% lower, Bank Nifty almost 1% lower and Sensex 0.6% lower. So let's move on to the data for today. So the gap between Nifty futures and Nifty shows that Nifty futures is trading at a premium of 58 points, and the gap between Bank Nifty futures and Bank Nifty shows that Bank Nifty futures is trading at a premium of 71 points, which is positive in nature. Looking at India VIX is up 1.33%, which makes it slightly bearish for us. And crude oil levels have gone up from 57.62 levels to 57.98 levels, which is also bearish for us. But overall, crude oil levels is still not overall bearish. It is slightly bullish overall, but with an increase in crude oil, it is slightly bearish for us. Looking at GIFT Nifty, we see that GIFT Nifty is trading about 20 to 30 points higher than Nifty futures. So we can expect a gap up today, a slight gap up or even a neutral opening. Looking at Nifty Bs did close to about 0.5% lower. Bank Bs closing at about 0.7% lower. Gold Bs actually was closing about 0.7% higher, whereas Silver Bs closing about 1.77% higher. So moving on to the PCR ratio, we see that Nifty is at very oversold levels here at zero point 0.6, and we also see that Bank Nifty is at oversold levels at 0.73. Moving on to the sectoral indices, we see that the sectoral indices is seeing a lot of selling here. The only sectors that is seeing a lot of buying is the metal sector, but apart from that, all the other sectors are seeing huge amounts of selling, which is definitely bearish in nature. Looking at NSE, we see that there are 1,800 declines, close to 1,100 advances, so clearly bearish data there. Looking at FII DII data, in the cash market we see both buying from FIIs and DIIs, huge amount of buying, almost 2000 crores from DIIs, whereas FIIs are seeing about 300 crores in buying. And in the FNO market, in the index futures, we see huge amount of selling from FIIs, almost 2,400 crores of selling in FIIs, whereas in stock futures you can also see huge amounts of selling with almost 1,177 crores of selling from the FIIs. This is not at all good for the FNO market, as that is bearish in nature, but in the cash market you can see slight positive buying, which is good, but overall the data is bearish here. Looking at the advance decline ratio, we see that there are 15 advances and 35 declines in Nifty 50, whereas in Bank Nifty we only see 2 advances and 10 declines. Overall, this data is bearish in nature here, and we look at the sectors too. Banking and insurance have taken the biggest hits here, two big sectors in the red area, so the view is bearish here too. Looking at option chain is heavily bearish because you see a lot of buying in puts and a lot of selling in calls. Again, puts is on the right hand side of the screen and calls on the left hand side of the screen. As you see, there's a lot of selling in calls here and buying in puts, having an overall bearish view. Key important levels that we need to look out for the option chain here is the 24,900 levels here. For puts here we see a lot of volumes there, and the 2,500 levels here for calls. Looking at the global markets, we see that the US markets are quite neutral, with Dow Jones with Dow Jones being the only one closing slightly on negative here, whereas S&P and Nasdaq are closing pretty neutral. Looking at the European front, we see kind of the same trend, with DAX closing positive and CAC and FTSE closing both positive here too. Sorry, DAX closing negative and FTSE and CAC closing positive. We see Nikkei here closing, having around 0.21% lower, whereas Kospi is about 0.57% higher here. Looking at the overall nature of these markets, we see that initially there could be a huge amount of sell-off and then a consolidation towards the end here. But looking into more data, we see that ADRs is there. ADRs are seeing a lot of selling. Big companies such as Infosys, ICICI, Wipro, HDFC Bank, all seeing huge amounts of selling, which is definitely bearish in nature. Looking at stock futures is bullish in nature, as you know, we see US 30, 500 and Tech 100 all closing in the positives in the ranges of zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.2. Okay. Overall, guys, the view for the day is still sell on rise. The main reason because all of the data is pointing lower. We are in a downtrend in the market. So the main things that we need to look out for is there could be a V-shaped recovery today, but that is highly unlikely. Even though we're in the oversold regions, it could possibly be that we see a huge sell-off in the first half of the day, and then later there is a consolidation. Slight chances of V-shaped recoveries towards the end. We can possibly see V-shaped recoveries from S2 and moving upwards here. So the key important levels that we see today for Nifty are 25 150 levels for R1, and for S1 is 24 918 levels over there. We can definitely see reversals from that S2 area at 24 824 levels. So that is one thing that you can watch out for. But still, guys, overall view for the day is sell on rise. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you guys found it helpful. Please do like, share and subscribe, and thank you so much for tuning into the video, guys.